I guess you all thought about heaven before. It's only natural for you to think what would happen after you die. Do you just disappear? Does your soul become part of the universe? Or do you go to hell for shoplifting that one thing which you knew you didn't need? When we think about this, we all hope we go to heaven, right? But today, I'm going to try and convince you why heaven would be hell. Cambridge Dictionary defines heaven as a place where gods live and where good people are believed to go after they die so they can enjoy perfect happiness. And it is important to clarify that different religions have different concepts of heaven, and this TEDx talk will focus on heaven depicted in Christianity. Now, I got a question for all of you. What's the first thing which comes to your mind when you think about heaven? Would it be sitting in clouds, talking to angels, or maybe even playing the harp? Well, heaven's advertised to be this perfect utopia, filled with happiness, where everything you do is in service to God, where everyone sings, laughs, and lives in peace. Let's not forget, nothing bad happens in heaven. So, how about we take a step back and actually imagine how boring this would be? Imagine after 2,000 years, or even 2 whole million years. How much longer can you survive sitting in clouds, talking to angels, playing the harp without dying of boredom? Personally, I couldn't even last one full week. How do you appreciate the perfection which heaven is when you haven't seen anything bad happen in thousands of years? In a sense, all way of gratification of heaven ceases to exist. And now to talk about this point, I like to use this example of a princess. I want you all to imagine a princess who's lived their entire life in a very privileged manner. In a manner in which she gets everything she needs. Where her entire world is shielded away from any pain, any suffering happening outside her fortunate world. Now, I got a question for all of you. Since this princess has never experienced anything bad, can she ever truly appreciate how privileged she is? Can she truly ever acknowledge how perfect her life is if she doesn't have anything on the other side of the spectrum to compare it to? I want to link this to the concept of heaven. If nothing bad happens to you in heaven, can you ever truly, and I mean truly, appreciate the perfection which heaven is? And talking about no bad, no pain, no illness, no suffering. So just do whatever you want, eh? You just have the rest of eternity to go. But that's not allowed there. And I assume the things which people really want to do over and over again for the rest of eternity is probably not even allowed in heaven in the first place. Most of the activities we classify as fun in our everyday lives is due to an inherent fear of consequences and risks in which we challenge our odds against. But since fear does not exist in heaven, many of the activities we classify as fun, such as gambling, which is fun because there's the fear of you being able to lose your money, or sports, such as skateboarding, which is only fun because there's a fear of you falling down and getting hurt. But since fear does not exist in heaven, many of these activities will lose all of their fun factor. How is gambling with no fear of losing your money, or skateboarding with no fear of falling down and getting hurt, fun in any way? Even the best qualities of your personality are irrelevant. Since everything's perfect in heaven, qualities such as generosity or compassion are pointless because no one's in hurting or need of anything. Qualities such as forgiveness, creativity, courage are also all pointless because there's no one to forgive to. There's nothing to be creative about because everything's already perfect up there. And this leads me to say that heaven's biggest drawback might perhaps be its perfection. How about we imagine heaven in a more abstract viewpoint? Out of all the people there, you're probably going to run into some close family members. And in a sense, this is a very attractive aspect of heaven. Meeting a family member who you haven't been able to talk to in decades is a beautiful aspect of heaven. But let's be honest, with any family reunion, I usually want to leave after an hour. And what happens to all the people you left back down there? Do you just wait for them to finish telling their story? It's kind of messed up. What happens if you end up in heaven and your close relative doesn't? What happens if you end up in heaven and you watch your son or daughter mess up knowing that they won't make it to heaven anymore? Wouldn't that be devastating? How can anyone be happy in heaven knowing that their friends or family are suffering in hell? And this leads me to another very interesting aspect about heaven, and how you can stare down at your kids and see how they continue your legacy. But after a few generations, aren't you just staring at strangers who you don't share any history with? And also, let's admit, do you really want your ancestors looking down at you every step of the way and wondering where they went wrong? Overall, I'm not trying to say that you should start stealing stuff or being immoral, because heaven doesn't seem as fun as it's brought up to be. But maybe since I'm an atheist, I'm trying to express how monotonous the conventional ideas of heaven would be. Maybe heaven's different for all of us. But maybe heaven's just a concept used for people to do good deeds. But if anything, if heaven is in fact real, then the speech has probably stopped me from passing through the gates anyway. Thank you.